All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise and honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Makak Double honors to the apostles, elders, great millstones, citation of brothers pushing this word in truth and sincerity and with charity and risking their lives and freedom to do so. There's a brother on a guy, come from great millstones, cow camp, come at you with another lesson. Low one, is that fine? Just a quick scripture today, as usual, just meditating. It should be vexing, when you really, putting your whole foot forward, putting 2 feet in, whatever they say, trying to serve the Lord, you're gonna realize how wicked this place, this queendom really is, man. And this is gonna be vexing, I don't want to butcher it, but Scripture talks about how increaseth in wisdom, increasing sorrows, man. You the more you know and realize how this ain't supposed to be, because this ain't life. What Esau teaches you is a death style, leaning unto your own understanding, do as thou will, basically following and worshiping idols and false gods and eating abominable foods, doing abominable things, you got transformers walking around, the other day, just trying to relax, and put on that old school, that Martin show, Martin Lawrence. And I completely forgot. It's all folly, but everything is spiritual, man. Even the folly is spiritual if you see it with a spiritual eye. And I completely forgot that this guy plays different roles in that show. He plays the different characters, that karate dude. And that, I believe it's Shanae. All right, he comes out dressed as a full woman, acting like a full woman. And I was sitting there, and I think I got distracted where I was just thinking in my head, and I wasn't really watching the show, but I was sitting there in front of the TV, and that little part caught my kid's attention. And my son was like, "Is that a guy?" And he keeps asking, "Is that a guy? Wait, is that a guy?" And I realized what he's asking me. I looked at the show. I said, "Oh, yeah, I should change this." I told my wife to change that. And I said, "Man, we can't be watching this shit. I don't want. You can't. Shit like that. That's what they promote. That it's okay to do. Especially going into acting careers and becoming an actor, actress. They make you play the reverse roles, man." It's weird, man. It's fucked up. Instead of getting the person for that role, getting the person for that role, they switch roles, and now the guy's playing the girl and the girl's playing the guy. It's completely off, man. And Scripture talks about how you ain't even supposed to be wearing women's apparel. You ain't supposed to be wearing men's apparel. And here yet, you got these motherfuckers just doing that, man. Putting it on national TV. People are laughing to it. People get food, sit around TV, and this is their enjoyment. Little do they know, they're influenced by these things. And look, the younger children and all that, Scripture talks about training up a child when they're young. From when they're older, they won't depart from it. And they don't let these kids watch these Transformers on TV and all here in real life. You don't cut it with a scripture saying, "Hey, that's not right. That's the Lord don't like that." It's something, they're gonna grow up to think that these things are okay. And I remember one time, I was a kid, man, and I thank my OG for doing it, but my cousin, I was surrounded by fucking women. They dared me to put on a woman's apparel. I forgot what the fuck exactly. It was nothing crazy, and then I think it was a shirt or some shit. I put on a shirt, And then we were really cool with our neighbors, and the neighbor, the parent ended up telling my mother that, hey, your son over here, putting out this shit, in my OG. I ain't gonna lie, she whipped my ass. Gave me a little ass, but I was confused. I didn't understand what the fuck was going on, And then right now she was like, oh man, I shouldn't have done that. No, the spirit of the Lord was on her, and she did what needed to be done. A young man shouldn't be doing those things. But, you got these young girls influence you and double dare, triple dog dare. You get peer pressure into shit. You don't want to look like a little punk, but little do you know, you are that little punk, falling into those things, And that's why Esau takes away the man out the household, man, because he knows that, the boys don't fall into that shit, man. Being raised by a single woman, emotional single woman, and can't control her actions or her mouth and all types of shit. And now you got this young man running wild because he just seen how his mother or aunts or grandmas react to things, to road rage, to shit in the grocery lines, to a job, This shit is just completely fucking off, man. Now the kid raised up and do those things and act that way. Me coming into this truth, being raised by a single mother, emotional. I was very, extremely emotional, and I feel like I'm still battling with that now. But, I improved a lot. But man, coming into the truth, I didn't realize how much I thought, acting like a woman, man, because that's all I knew. But this whole place, is a vexation. That was just one thing, but it's many things, man. It's many things. This whole world, the whole earth is in languish. No, I remember seeing this video years ago, and I believe it was this woman, Ethiopian, I think. It might have been Elam. Either way, she was saying that, hey, you called Negroes, Latinos to wake up. I think she should mention Negroes, though. She was, y'all don't know who y'all are. Y'all need to wake up. Once y'all wake up, peace will be back on earth. And it shows that who's in rulership right now. Job 9:24. The earth is given on to the hands of the wicked. All right, and who's that? Esau, Edom, man. All right, and I want to get this in Proverbs 29:2. It says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. All right, and everyone is in mourning. Everybody. You got sea creatures beaching themselves, because the water's polluted. The air is all fucked up. The whole earth is on fire. And people losing houses, homes, lands. You got the ICE situation going on. All this is going to lead onto the MOTB, which is going to cause more mourning, and proves that the wicked are in rulership. Because if the righteous were in rulership, Yasharallah, the people will rejoice. The whole world will rejoice. Animals will rejoice, the trees will rejoice. But this place is completely fucking vexing, man. And it proves that the wicked are in authority. These motherfuckers ruined everything. There's not one thing they haven't covered they turned into wickedness, man. They add and took away from the scriptures. These people, they're full of shit, man. But yet they're self-proclaimed whites, which white goes into purity. There's not one pure bone in their body, man. But I just wanted to bring this out and share with y'all, man. been a while since I did a scripture day on this particular scripture, and it popped up in my spirit, in my head. Just wanted to put it on wax. You know, this place is a vexation, man. You know, you got Transformers reading to kids. You got people, grown adults on your net, kids, young, to pick their sexuality. They don't even know how to fucking tie their shoes, man. They don't even know if they want chocolate or vanilla ice cream. And, you know, these people, this place is completely, it's complete confusion, man. All right. Well, I'm going to end it off with that. Proverbs 29:2 says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth the rule, the people mourn. Lord, it's an edifying lesson. Until next time, say shalom and the Bible ball.